Hi, it's Megan from Sew and Tell Australia, working with Brindle and Twig today on this tutorial for their number 22 pattern, the Drawstring Leggings. Such a cute little pattern. So to get started today, you will need a couple of things. You will need either a sewing machine or a serger. I've chosen to use a serger today. I've already got my threads in the color that I want. You will also need a tape measure so that you can measure your model and know the right size that you're making. A rotary cutter or some scissors, depending on your preference. Some snips. These are just really handy for any wayward threads when you're sewing. You will also need pins and or clips. I like clips when I'm working with jersey fabric as it doesn't mark the fabric. And then obviously the important part, the fabric. So I've chosen to use a medium weight jersey from Wattle Hill Fabrics Australia. It's really cute. It's got good stretch and recovery, so it's going to work really well for our main pieces. And then for the cuffs and waistband, I'm using this gorgeous lounge rib from Clover & Co Australia as well. So you can just use normal cotton lycra on your waistband pieces if you want, and your cuff pieces, but I'm using a rib today. And with the drawstring, you can also just use a straight jersey. I've cut a strip 1 inch wide for my drawstring, or you can use a corded drawstring as well. It's really just personal preference. So let's get started. I'm using a projector today to cut out my pattern, but it's the same process whether you're using a projector or paper pattern pieces. So you will have already cut out your pattern after determining the size that you need. I know for my son that I need a size 18 to 24 months. So I've loaded up my pattern pieces, and now I need to cut 2 of the leg pieces mirrored images. So that just means that I need 2 pieces opposites of each other. So like I said, we've got 2 pattern pieces that are opposites of each other. Now I just need to cut my waistband and 2 cuff pieces. So now I've got all the pieces that I need. I've got my front and back legs, which are mirrored. I've got my waistband piece, and I've also got my 2 leg cuffs. Now I can take it over to the machine and we can get started on sewing it up. Now that we've got our pattern pieces cut out, the first thing we're going to start off is take one side and we're going to match up the inseam. That means that we're going to align the crotch pieces right sides together, so that means the printed side of the fabric is together. And we're just going to take our clips and clip along here before we serge it together. Then we're going to take it to our serger and we're just going to serge this along the inseam. Once you've done that first one, repeat to the other side. Now that we've got both our pieces serged on the inside leg seam, we're going to take one of them and turn it the right way out. We're then going to take that piece and insert it inside our other piece, which is still right sides together. From there, we want to match up our center seam. So just find that center seam and make sure you're aligning those center pieces. Pop a clip in, then go along and just match up your pieces. So your pieces should now look like this. We're now going to go to the serger and serge all the way along this piece here. Now that we've sewn along this piece here, we're just going to turn it the right side out. And you can see that our pieces are together. The front always dips down a little bit because the back has to account for our bottom, so you can easily tell that this is the front. Next, we're going to attach the waistband. Take your waistband piece and fold it in half lengthways so that the short ends match. You're going to sew along this edge here. So you should now have this piece here with right sides together. From here, you're going to fold it in half with wrong sides together and make sure you line up the raw edges. To attach the waistband to the pants, I generally like to quarter my waistband. It's a good way to make sure you're getting it on evenly. So I'll grab a pin and just fold it in half so that I've got the seam at the back and pop a pin in the center front. And then I'll lay it out flat and line up the center back seam with my pin at the front so that I can find the sides. Once you have that, you're then going to get your pants and line up your front and back seams and just pop a pin in the sides here so that you can know where the sides are on them. Now it makes it really easy to attach your waistband evenly. So I like to make sure the seam is at the back. So I just double check my pants again. That's the back. And we're going to pop them on. Just slide your pants through. Grab your center back seam and align it with your center back seam on your waistband. Then we're going to find our side pins and line them up. It's important to make sure that you've got 3 raw edges together as well, just so you don't miss anything when you're serging it. So now we've got our waistband attached or clipped on. We can now go ahead and serge it on. It's also a good idea at this point if you've got a label. I just have my little sew and tell labels with care instructions and the size I write on the back. You can attach that now, just so that you've got something to let you know what size you've made. And if your kids are like my kids, they like to know where the label is. So we're going to pop that under our serger. As you sew, make sure you're stretching it evenly so that it's all evenly attaching. So gently stretch, making sure all 3 edges are lined up and go all the way around. Now that we've attached our waistband, we can flip it up and see that it's all looking good with my little label at the back. Let's attach our cuffs. Similar process to the waistband where we fold the cuff in half, and this time we're going to sew along the long edge. That's folding it in half with right sides together. From here we're going to fold them out with wrong sides together and aligning our edges. When you're attaching them to your pants, it's a good idea to align the seam from the cuff to the inseam. So just pull your cuff onto your leg piece and align your seams together and clip them together. I find now that if I just sort of gently stretch this out, making sure I'm aligning all the top edges, it helps give a nice even spread to the fabrics. You can pop a couple of extra clips in if you like, but we're now going to attach this one and then the next one. Now we have our joggers or leggings all done with our cuff pieces and our waistband. The last thing we need to do is add the drawstring. For the drawstring, I've just cut a piece of normal cotton lycra about 1 inch wide, and it's about 24 inches long. So it's going to depend on the size you're making as to how long. We're just going to get our waistband, making sure you're only cutting through the top layer. We're going to make a little snip on either side of the center. So again, it's really important to make sure you're only making through the top layer. Then we're going to get a safety pin, pop it through the end of your drawstring and feed it through. Now you can just tie a little knot at the end. And just even it out a little bit. Well done, you've made your first pair of drawstring leggings. So they should look like this at the end. You've got your cute little cuffs on the bottom, waistband, drawstring through here, and your cute fabric. Hopefully you found this tutorial fun and easy. If you've got any questions, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. Can't wait to see you in the next one.